Senator Huffman and members of the committee. I think you have my full letter, but so I won't rehash all of it, but I am the interim pastor of University Baptist Church here in Austin. I've lived in Texas since 2004. Prior to that, I lived in Dayton, Ohio, and I served for about 2 years as a chaplain in a men's penitentiary. Prior to that, I was a mental health case manager. So this bill brings together a lot of things that I have worked on as a pastor. One of the things that I notice here as a pastor is all of the levels of pain in the room, from those who have family members who've been the victims of violent crime, to those who've been unjustly incarcerated, to those whose family members are currently in jails. I am concerned about the morality of this bill as it attempts to solve and resolve one of those types of pain in ways that seem to inflict greater pain on other communities. I'm particularly concerned about the way that this bill will affect poor people, people with mental illness, people who are Black and brown. And these are already communities that are disproportionately discriminated against by our justice system. When I was a chaplain in a men's penitentiary, what I noticed was that I was surrounded by nonviolent offenders, many of whom were young Black men who were there on minor drug charges, and that the institution offered them very little rehabilitative support. One of the saddest things in the world to me is the lost potential of a life. And I fear that this bill will only destroy the potential of so many lives in Texas. Besides that, it's expensive. In the church, we talk about good stewardship, and it seems to me that the cost of this bill to the state of Texas is not going to be fiscally responsible. Having said that, I'm deeply sensitive to the need to keep violent offenders off our streets. Obviously, that's a problem that needs to be addressed. This bill, to me, simply seems not the way to do that. We talk a lot about freedom and liberty here in Texas, and Baptists especially like to talk about religious liberty. Jesus, the Apostle Paul, many of the earliest disciples were unjustly imprisoned. And Jesus began his ministry by calling for freedom for the captives and good news to the poor. And I know many of you have deep religious convictions, and I just ask that as you make revisions, that you be as attuned to the pain of those on the margins of our society as you are to the victims of violent crime. That's the only way that we can get free. And as long as we are incarcerating people in mass, criminalizing being poor, we are not going to get there. So I thank you for your time, and I trust that you'll hold all of these pains in tension as you make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
Ben.